There you go. You did
Hey,
it.
are we live?
You did it. Oh my God, you're not going to check, are you?
I am going to check. Let's
All right,
see.
well, then I'll say welcome to everyone who has found us or will find us in the future. Well, Danay does the inevitable check to make sure that we're live. So, and
There we
what's
go.
the verdict?
Yeah, we are. We're
There you
live.
go. Did it
And we
once
have
again.
someone. This is fun. I am completely outside of my comfort zone. It looks like Sheila and I are in the same place. We are not. And we are testing out. I just downloaded StreamYard now to play with this. And I am really sort of awkward right now. So I'm kind of just trying to feel into being like okay with things. And it's like, there we go. Oh, this is fun. Hi, Julie. Let's see. I'm going to show your comment. Look at that. There we go. This is
Perfect. Yeah.
fun.
I like StreamYard. I used to use StreamYard a few years ago, and it was super fun to play. You can invite people on. I did interviews on it. The comments can be very live and interactive, and it is fun. Now, I'm seeing a bit of a time delay for my own video, so I'm going to ignore it completely and just know that it doesn't matter. So, what is also fun is at some point, if there's a lull in the conversation, Danai can actually change our background so you can see the bigger room because we actually have a piano over in the corner. It's super fun. We play it all the time.
I was like, yeah, it's over there, or it's over there.
We'll wait until it gets even more boring than this, and then you can change the layout. But thanks for showing up, Julie. Hey, we have a Jill. Yeah.
Oh, you're here. I'm going to show that. Hi, Jill.
All right, so we're still practicing the etiquette that we don't need to comment every time someone pops on and you see the number go up. But if someone does put something in the comments, then you are allowed to acknowledge it and go from there. But yes, I know I've been a lurker on live videos. I don't want people calling me out because what if I want to leave? So we like to make it comfortable for everyone.
That's fair. All right. Well, if I identify it as like however many people are on the call, they're not identifiable until they message.
There's still a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure.
Well, like Julie says, it's just a few peeps who love you, so get comfortable. So
like thank you, Julie.
Great. Yeah. See, Julie's awesome. I love Julie. Thank you, Julie. Yes. Yeah, we do have content, but I don't know, Sheila, if you want to throw this on your Facebook. I don't know how this works to add the link. It's just my YouTube, right? That goes on to your Facebook.
I understood what you're saying. No, we're not doing that. We were having all of these voice message conversations back and forth for an hour before this, and that is not what I thought you meant. I thought the replay. I'll put the replay link on my Facebook. I personally don't feel the need to now spend 2 minutes looking down at my phone to drop a link on my profile, which no one's looking at anyway. So let's just all agree to that we're here live on YouTube because it's fun. And your people love to come out and show you love. And my Facebook people are all at work.
Work? What's work? Anyway, that's we're like 4 minutes into 3 minutes and 52 seconds into the non-content. So why don't we hop into some content? And
all right. Our standards are raising because if you go back to our first video, I think we were a good full 10 minutes in before we started talking about anything. So look at that. We're getting better. We are getting better.
Yeah. I don't know. Like our first video was super, super fun. And this reminds me of the same energy of just trying to adjust to like, you're on like wobbly ground and it's like, oh my God, what's happening? And it's going outside your comfort zone, which was the first video, but we're not going to repeat that because no, we have new content. But I will tell you, originally
we're offshoot from fear because fear was the first topic. So let's just keep navigating areas that feel like fear but aren't fear.
Yes. Okay. So what we're doing is, all right, I'm going to tell you full transparency here. I had a plan for a topic. And I was very excited about that topic because some of you may know that Sheila and I are running a course right now on wealth and abundance. And one of the topics that came up in there was very inspiring. And it was about guilt. And then, so we were like, oh my God, let's talk about guilt. And then Sheila saw how crazy I was today about a particular topic, which was what we're going to talk about today. And I said, let's not do this particular topic today. And Sheila's like, let's do this topic today, which is decisions. Oh man, I could not decide. And, you know, people may or may not know this about me. I have so much challenge with making decisions. I convince myself in some weird way that it doesn't matter what I do, that I am going to end up making the wrong decision. Like that's what I feel legitimately. And people don't see it in me, maybe because like by the time I've made the decision and I've committed to it, it looks like I knew all along what I was doing. But the whole time I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to pick? And it could be the simplest things. Like, are we going live on YouTube? Or are we going live on Facebook? Are we going live on YouTube or Facebook? And I sat there and I was like, oh my God, this is so hard. It's a simple decision. But I felt like, and this is one of the things that crosses my mind with all the choices we make in life. It's like, what if I choose the wrong choice or make the wrong decision that then won't have as much benefit as the other choice? And that's what, like, I have an analytical mind. So that's what pops up for me, is this whole thing that I'm like, if I choose YouTube, you know, in this decision, and I love, yes, I hope this is going to resonate for people, because it's something that it's one of my journeys. So when thinking about the YouTube, I was like, well, which one's going to get to the most people? Not everybody's on Facebook. I was like, but then maybe more people will see it on Facebook. And then I just started battling back and forth. And then I was like, you know what? We're going to do it on YouTube. And then I went, no, maybe we'll do it on Facebook. And then she was like, well, just do it on your YouTube.
Well, and like, you kept leaving me voice messages with the wrong one. Okay, you're right. We're just going to go on my Facebook. And then another message. Wait, no, I'm on YouTube. Your account, my account, what should we do? And it was, I think, brilliant, because just this morning I was on Instagram, and I had seen someone who posted a little snippet from Dr. Joe Dispenza, and it was exactly this. How long was it? Like 13 seconds, 20 seconds. And it was so perfect of take a deep breath, allow your mind to come out of that busyness and that ping-ponging, because to make a decision or to move ahead while you're still in that headspace, it's going to feel horrible. The whole step of the way, every step is going to be, this is going to go wrong and that's going to go wrong. And I hate to say it, but we were still kind of in that energy, I think, when we started, because it's like,
obviously,
now we got to do this, and now we got to do that, and how does this work? Whereas I do believe that if we had backed off a little bit more, even yet again, and gotten into that space of imagination, like how much fun it's going to be, and we get to figure out a new program, and isn't it fun that we're in different spots, but we can have the same backgrounds, like sensing into the joy and the fun and the lightness of it, I think it would have been even faster and smoother to have gotten to this point. But again, nothing has gone wrong. That's my point. Nothing's gone wrong.
No, nothing has gone wrong. And with anything in life, it's always best to take a step back, because when it's like, I don't know, I always get an imagery of a tornado and being in the eye of the storm. It's like that you're in the tornado and everything's chaotic, and it's like, it's a tornado of your thoughts. It's a tornado of your worries. It's the stresses. It's all that. And then as soon as you like step into the eye or step out of it, then you're like, okay, there it is wounding around outside of me. I'm not in it, surrounded by it. And I still feel that energy. I just looked at, my heart rate, and it's not as low as it usually is. So, yeah, I love this comment, Julie. Thank you so much for sharing it. Everything unfolds exactly as it's meant to. And it's true that this is a learning curve for me. I am not used to being like this. I spent years teaching, and I was used to being awkward and teaching in like a little more of a private setting. I mean, it would still have
But
its
awkwardness has normally been limited to 30 or 40 people at a time. So
no,
now
there were
on the
like
global
hundreds.
scale, it feels bigger.
No, there were hundreds. I would do live
Oh.
streams for teaching, and it'd be like 500 students, but they were students, and they were saying like it was cool that I was socially awkward, and it added like a little bit of an endearing quality. And I was like, great, just teaching you the content. But now it's like, I don't have a lecture planned. I don't have like this PowerPoint set up. I am just going through with the flow, what comes to me and how my process is, and how, Sheila's really great at identifying things in my behavior because she's an excellent coach. But it makes me laugh because we have these things, and all we need to do with anything in life is take a step back. Like, just take a step back. And it doesn't matter what you decide, because we're making decisions all throughout our day, 24/7. Like, every time we decide to, grab a fork instead of a spoon, or, tie our shoe a particular way, or all these things. And I just laugh, because if like I can bombard myself with all the decisions that I have to make, and they could be the most silliest things. But if I just take a step back and I'm like, does it really matter what I pick? Going live is going live. Did it matter if I picked YouTube or Facebook? Facebook made me a little more uncomfortable. I haven't done a live on Facebook. I've done 2 lives on YouTube. So I'm like, okay. And I haven't done a live by myself except for the first one where I was testing sort of things, and I like immediately made that like private because it's like, no thanks. But having Sheila there, even if she's not physically here, is comfortable. So it's like, that's a clear decision for me. Going live with support. At some point, I may spontaneously decide to go live without anyone there, and that's going to be interesting, because then I'm going to be like, I don't know what to do. What do I talk about? But as you can tell, once I get into the flow of things, I don't stop talking.
Exactly. In fact, that's going to be our only issue, is that I'm not beside you, so I can't like squeeze your knee when I'm thinking, really, are we still on this? So we're going to see what happens.
Yeah. So I like this. I mean, Julie, you're a superstar. You're making my life so much easier. And it's great that this feels like a more personal sort of one-to-one experience, right? And thank you so much. That was accidental, but I love that it popped up because I was trying to hide your previous one. Thank you so much. See the love. Anyway, so deciding things, you can create such a huge stress and create this mess of things. You can actually increase your stress level and make your life a lot harder. And we always talk about this coming back to the breath. And then I thought to myself earlier, before we hopped on this call, I was like, have I ever channeled about decisions? I don't know what I've channeled about decisions. And then I started panicking. I was like, I gotta find this channel. I found something from like 2 years ago. And then I like just sort of listened to what it said. And then it went out of my head because I wasn't in the place to receive it. So I was like, but why does it matter? I hop into a live. I'll hit a flow. I may channel, I may not, but like it's just going to be a flow. And I think the idea is allowing. I think that's the biggest things about decisions, is that when we get caught up in not deciding something or not being confident about deciding something, we're not allowing the flow. So, and that feels big. It seems to always come back to allowing, because I wasn't allowing things to unfold naturally today. I wasn't allowing for things to just kind of settle first or take a step back and say, like, what do I want to do? And there, see, now I get an indication of what channel would say is to go back into the body. Go back into the body and just feel into what you want. Like, simple decision. What do I want to eat today? You know, I could have pizza, which is usually a yes for me. So I feel into my body. Do I want pizza? And I usually get a hell yes. Or do I want something, you know, different? And I could stress myself out because, say I had pizza for the last 7 days and say I really shouldn't have pizza for the 8th day. And then does it really matter if my body wants it and I feel good about it? Then why am I being critical? So there's the other aspect of it. When you're trying to make decisions, you're not allowing, and then you're being overly critical. So, oh, we have a question. That's fun.
Thanks, Julie.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's get the question on the screen here. So, what is your process for releasing fear and stepping into your courage? Sometimes some of those decisions can feel uncomfortable and even a little fearful. That's a great question. Because the way I'm talking about decisions right now, it talks about fear and being courageous, because I was nervous about going live to begin with. And I was nervous about talking about decisions to begin with, because I'm like, I'm going to show people how chaotic I can be with making decisions. So I had to face fear, right? I had to face my fear. This is going to be a common thread in any sort of live I do or any sort of video I do, because it's very prominent in my life. So what is my process for releasing? That's great. Well, emotional support. I point over here. I don't know how to point on the thing. It's not the direction I expect it to be. Yeah, Sheila. Yeah. Emotional support, friends, families, anyone in your life that you find can kind of ease you and just bring you back to a moment where you can step out. Like, what the additional people in our lives do is they bring us back into our center. They bring us back into being grounded and saying, in the grand scheme of things, does this matter? Does it make a difference? And sometimes it could. Sometimes making one decision could change your life versus another decision. And when you face those, it's really practicing each day how to find your center, how to come back to being in the moment and saying it, what is it that I need now? What is it that I want now? And then saying something like, and I didn't do this morning, but this is stuff that I've done in the past, where it's like, in 5 years from now, is this going to make a difference in my life? Am I going to look back at this moment and being like, wow, how did I make a decision? Ooh, Sheila's got some comments here. So, yeah, I'm not saying I have the right answers. I'm saying that things I've tried. But what did I do this morning? Because I was fearful. I was nervous. And I still have it lingering. I'm still sort of critical in my head. But what did I do? I distanced myself. First off, I started, I made breakfast. I did all sorts of things. And I kept going back to Sheila for reassurance on things because I wasn't trusting myself. That's another big one, trusting yourself. When you have difficulties with decisions, one thing that you're going to realize is actually you don't trust yourself as much as you think you do. So outside of the hectic sort of decision moments, I think it's about building trust in yourself. Yes. Next episode, trust yourself. Sheila, I want you to comment because I said something about 5 years from now, would it matter? And that seemed to really spike some energy in you. So it wasn't that part.
It wasn't that particular comment. I was having so many comments go through my mind, and it was not a judgment that what you were saying was wrong in any way. I simply have a different perspective. So yeah. If you're inviting me to share my perspective, I'm happy to do that, because personally, I used to have a very difficult time making decisions. And so I have a very logical family and logical mind, and learned the processes of, best thing you can do is make a pro and con list and weigh into each of those. And then you can feel into which is the best one. And of course you can look at all the big factors like stability and safety and which one will get you the most money and that kind of thought process, which I have basically completely abandoned. Because what I prefer now is much more in line with what you were talking about, and feel into what feels right, what feels like it will make me happier, what feels better in my body. If I do consider either option, how does that feel? And tuning into that feeling, because when we start practicing, I do believe that we can sense in our body a yes or a no. And there are different techniques to doing this, but practicing with simple light things like, do I want pizza? Yeah, that's feel like, oh, already my stomach's getting ready for that, and I can feel the salivary glands afterwards. Like, okay, well, now what kind of pizza? And you can feel into it. And sometimes we imagine biting into a particular flavor, and one feels like, nah, I don't know, maybe not today. And the other was like, okay, that's hitting the exact right spot for in my body, in my mind, in my imagination, and it all comes together, and then it feels like it's the right, just that exact right vibration. For me, it's always like a tuning fork. It's like, ooh, no, oh yeah, that's the sweet spot. But even more than that, where I think a lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves unnecessarily is by thinking, this is a small decision that doesn't matter. This is a huge life-changing decision. This is big. This is like the big one. And what I would love to suggest is that they're all exactly the same in importance, because every single decision we make is a life-changing decision. If you cross the street here or over there, you're changing your entire life. You're changing everything about the aspects of what you see, the people you may run into, the timing of when you arrive somewhere, which just keeps domino affecting on and on and on. But we don't stress about whether we should cross here or there. We're just feeling into it very naturally. It's happening so quickly and instantly. We're not putting any pressure of, well, what is the wrong decision? Then we just go. We go where it feels like it's the best decision to go. We don't even know why we decided here or there. We just do it. So I honestly have noticed for myself, when I have backed off of the thinking something is super really big and important and allow all of it to flow as much as possible. Doesn't mean I always get it perfect. Doesn't mean I don't stress about some decisions. But what I have been doing lately is, if I can't decide and it feels like it is something that needs a decision, should I take this trip? Should I buy this plane ticket or that plane ticket? Should I, move to this country or that country? Those feel like really big ones. Well, if there isn't a hell yes choiceless decision in front of me, I just back off and say, not now then. Like, it's not clear right now, so I'm not going to choose right now. And there is no hard and fast date for me to make a decision. So I'm allowing myself that grace and time to feel into it a little bit more and just allow it. It doesn't mean that I'm spending more time thinking about it. I'm giving myself time to, as you said, back off, go do something completely different, and wait for more feelings, more data to come in, more preferences to form. So again, repeating myself, but taking off that pressure of having it mean something really big allows you to soften that this is right and that's wrong.
Mm.
And then just feel into it. And then we did decide, let's do it. Okay, here's our window of time. So it made sense. There was a decision to be made within this window of time.
Yep.
But none of that would have been wrong. I'm happy we did this one. We could have been just as happy doing the other one or one of the other choices. And we could have said, you know what, it feels like too much pressure today. Let's bump it to tomorrow.
Yeah.
It can be lighter, to be easier, to give ourselves the more room. I think we very often put ourselves in a box of this has to be done and has to be done right. And we need to decide now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, essentially, you're saying the things that we hear often in the stuff we do, which is you can't get it wrong. Like I think that like the short answer to your question, Julie, would be like, you can't get it wrong. Like that's your process, is to remind yourself that you can't get it wrong.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what you do, because we always hear you're exactly where you're meant to be. And everything is perfect exactly as it is, even if it's going a little shaky or chaotically. It's there for you for a reason. So
can I jump in and interrupt with that? Because so often people will hear that and they'll instantly have the but what if I can't decide what to take in university and I won't have a career? What if I don't know which job is the right one to take? What if, like, things people say, yeah, it can go wrong, because what if I'm homeless? And you can go to all kinds of extremes if you want to in your mind. But for me, it becomes, could that be all right? Could that actually be for your greater good? At the end of the day, whether it's 5 years from now or 20 years from now, when you look back, could you allow yourself the perspective of seeing how all those pieces went into the right places, even if at the time some of those decisions felt horrible, or non-decisions, or you felt out of control? Like, I've had some really terrible things happen to me in my life. At the time, I would have said, hell no, this is not for me. But looking at it now, it's like, hell yes, this was perfect for me. It got me right where I am now, and on the path to even a more and a better life. So again, giving yourself that space and perspective really does allow you to see it is working out.
Yeah. Everything works out. There's always that common phrase that, I wouldn't be who I am or where I am without my experiences. So that's totally valid. We have another question here that I can show on the screen from Travis. So, how do you ensure that you're being authentic and your true self whilst meeting societal norms and expectations, which may require you to mask? Well, the simple and easy answer to that, Travis, is let your freak flag fly. And, I mean, Travis and I are great at encouraging each other to be extra weird and not all, and being unique with our perspective. And society may say, like, if you're dancing around the street, well, instead of walking, that's bad. Don't do that. You're gonna single yourself out. You're gonna look a little odd. But that, to me, when I see that happening, I'm like, that person is really, really happy. Like, I've seen people dancing down the street where I am, and I was like, man, I want to be like you, and I've caught myself doing a little shimmy or like a little finger dance or whatever that just kind of says, like, what you feel authentically in a moment is like, I want to dance, or I want to move my body, or I want to do this thing. And this seems very, very minor, but it has societal repercussions, in a sense that there are people who don't know you that may create a judgment about you. But one of the things I've learned along the way is people are going to judge you no matter what you do. And what anybody thinks about you is absolutely none of your business. It matters what you think about you. And I know in my life that I've had to make decisions, including the stuff that I'm doing now, that isn't going to meet societal norms. It's getting there. It's getting into mainstream. And people are starting to see that. But at one point, mindfulness research wasn't relevant, wasn't important, it was considered to be weird, or meditation or yoga or any one of those things. And people started to see the benefits of it. So if you are being authentic and it feels good to you and it doesn't hurt anything or anyone, then I say do it. But you got to do what feels good for you. And if you feel called in any particular moment to hide a little bit, there's no shame in that either, because you got to allow yourself to reveal your true self at a point and a timing or a pace that feels good to you. Like, yes, go outside your comfort zone, but you know a difference between, feeling something, trying to force a decision where your body completely constricts and says, no, I can't do this. Like, it actually scares me. That's a huge no. And like Sheila was mentioning, it's got to be choiceless in some capacity. I mean, I will say yes to things even if I feel a tinge of fear, because I know that fear is just me going outside my comfort zone, not I'm legitimately fearful of something that could potentially hurt me. But Sheila, your thoughts?
Well, I think today was the perfect example. And I mean, I love everything that you just said, and I'm going to play that back to you later. But so today we had a topic in mind that felt really comfortable for Danay. And then because of the experience of making the decisions this morning, I said, well, this is our topic. That felt uncomfortable. And so I countered with, well, let's go with YouTube, because you have experience and you're more comfortable on YouTube. So we're not putting so many different variables in play. Let's create within a comfortable place, adding in the element that feels a little bit of discomfort, just to help create some balance. And I think that that's so important. And we can distance ourselves more and more from tying ourselves and becoming attached to what people think, because there is always going to be someone who disagrees with you and someone who agrees with you, and a lot of people who just don't care. And when we can find that balance that feels best for us, that's, I think, where we have that happiness in our life. So, I mean, you can choose to show up at work naked because you're more comfortable without clothing. Obviously, there are going to be repercussions for that, and that's not going to be to your best benefit. However, there are ways that you can feel into, I want to stay as true to my own desires and beliefs, and I understand what is to my best benefit within working society, of living society. And so maybe you choose to work at home if you prefer to be naked as much as possible. And when you go into the office, you wear comfortable clothes. So it doesn't always have to be handing over what you want to the person, like giving it up. I have to always conform, but can you find the way that does still feel good for you, that can find a balance? And as Danay said, society is changing so much. It used to be that a woman who didn't wear a hat and gloves was considered, improper. Well, now it's gone the other way. Of someone who has a hat and gloves is like, oh, I wonder why she's even wearing that, or, oh, that's a fun style. But it's been a 50-year gap or more. And so we just keep shifting this way and that way. And I do think, I mean, in the 60s, there was a lot of regulation, but there was also so much free thinking discussions and free love. And it was all about love and happiness and joy. And then it kind of went the other way. And now we're coming back. And so I love it, just being human. We get to play and expand. So super fun.
Totally. And I love what you were saying. And one of the things that was crossing my mind is essentially when we're making decisions or going outside our comfort zone, or trying to be authentic without, stepping on any toes, I kept thinking about like this elastic band. And, people have used elastic band analogies a ton, but like envision yourself in the middle of this massive elastic band, and that border of the elastic band is essentially your comfort zone line. And you can go outside of your comfort zone, make the decision to go outside of your comfort zone by just bending or stretching that sort of boundary, that sort of line. And by doing so, you're not breaking it. So you're not shattering this whole little comfort nook or cocoon that you have going. you know, you're just kind of pushing it and saying, yeah, I'm gonna go outside a little bit. You may even like dip your toe outside of that line, but know that you can come back in at any point. I'm reminded of a comic that's literally like a stick figure in an area that's like their comfort zone, and they run away from their comfort zone and they push the button that says I did a thing. And they push the button and they run back and they sit back in their comfort zone, but they did the thing and they went out their comfort zone maybe 10 seconds. But that's progress, right? So it's like it's focusing on stretching the boundaries instead of breaking them. And can you stretch them with some comfort level? And hello, Daniel. So it's interesting that these thoughts, these topics that we have, weave into so many different things and come back to so many different topics that we've already talked about. I love these questions, and authenticity is one of my big journeys. I've always, it's always come back to being authentic and speaking my truth. And I've had moments where I've cowered away. Well, I won't use the word coward. I've had moments where you would have stepped all over that. I've had moments where I've shied away from being authentic because I was worried about judgment. I was worried about people rejecting me in some capacity. And then you find your tribe, you find your people, and they're going to love you no matter what. Whatever you decide. They may have been like, that wasn't the best of decisions, but we still love you. So know that you can't get it wrong. You could make it harder on yourself, which is probably another topic.
Well, I think that's the key, isn't it? It's beyond the decision itself. It's what do you feel is necessary? Like, do you somehow need to pay some dues and make it really difficult? Do you need to, like, does it need to feel hard to justify the decision that you're making? Like, this really could be a whole other conversation of just, why do you think it can't be easy?
That's a great question. Why do we assume it has to be hard?
There needs to be a struggle. There needs to be a battle. It's like,
well, then you've earned it.
We could, yeah, absolutely.
So you feel like you've accomplished something when you've like climbed a mountain, but if you've just stepped on like a little step or a hill or something, and you're like, all right, and this will bring up a whole other set of topics of not celebrating like the little wins and only focusing on the big milestones. But let's see, we have another question here. Do you have any other comments, Sheila, before we hop on to this next question?
No, let's do it.
All right. So, questions. Sometimes transferring power and allowing yourself to be supported by others feels like giving up. How can I better understand who can take the initiative forward once I can reasonably do no more? I think my answer to this is pretty simple. Is ask yourself, do I need help? Because I think maybe in society they've created like this sort of negative meaning behind asking for help and not doing things yourself. And internally you get this feeling that you need, it's not even like giving up your power or giving up, if anything, it's empowering you to ask for help. Like there's power in asking for help, because if we set these limitations or these restrictions that say that we have to do everything on our own, we're social creatures. It's in our evolution to bond and create communities and villages and whatever may be. There's a reason why they say like it takes a village to raise a family. It takes the village, or it takes the tribe, or it takes your friends and family and your loved ones for everyone to be successful in achieving their goals and striving to who they want to be. And you may get help for 30 seconds, and that gives you the stepping stone that you need to keep going on your own. I panicked this morning trying to set this up on StreamYard. And, when Sheila called me and said, you're going to set up your own StreamYard, I went, because I didn't want to do that. It was easier for her to do it and for me to sit back and just let her do it. But she was helping me by allowing me to go a little bit outside of my comfort zone and just create the StreamYard. And I accidentally created something else, another account on Vimeo, and I was like, that's not StreamYard. so I was like, you're just so good at this. And she's like, it's a duck. I was like, I know, I'm just not in my head. I'm just like just so I did all these things, and I swear you could watch, like, blend together a video of these comedic moments before I do anything and add some wacky music to it, and that stuff would sell. But the idea here is you gave me a gift, an opportunity to see what I'm capable of. And then when I hit a mark where I was like, okay, now I don't know what to do. I created this, I did this. And you're like, okay, well, now click there, go here and do this. And then I found my flow, and then I kept going. And this seems so minor of an analogy, but it's like, I think it meets up with anything in life, that when you ask for help, you're not saying, hey, I'm completely done with this task, I can't do it anymore. You're saying, can you give me a stepping stone or two so that I find my bearings, I find my confidence, and then I keep going. So your thoughts, Sheila?
Well, I agree. And I used to be a person who never asked for help, who thought my only choice was to just say, I'm fine. If anybody asked, if they said, can I do anything? It's like, no, I got it. Because I felt that you had to do everything on your own, or else you were failing and you were a failure. So it was, again, a wonderful shift that I have experienced for myself in my life, to realize you can have a team. It can be an energetic team. It can be a God that you pray to. It can be your angels around you, whether you just imagine them or not, really doesn't matter. It can be your friends, your family. It could be strangers on the street. It doesn't really matter who, but as you say, you can invite your team in to offer a hand, a kind word, to take something completely over. And at any point, allowing that to be okay does often give you enough of that, chance to recenter, regroup, maybe pick up now. Oh, wait, I can see what's going on here. And now I feel like I'm in my strengths again. And so to allow that, a puzzle isn't just one giant piece. That's no fun. To have, lots of pieces putting that puzzle together is actually a much more satisfying experience. So I definitely don't feel that it's giving your power away. And I absolutely agree that it is showing how empowered you are when you understand where and how to ask for help, and to just give it over. Like, here, wonk, this is your expertise. I don't need to plow through my taxes. I could hire an accountant. I don't have to diagnose myself. I could go to the doctor. There are so many steps that we often invite teams in. I don't do all the paperwork for my own house mortgage. I get a lawyer, and I get a real estate person, and I find people who are experts in their field, and I invite them in. And it doesn't matter what the topic is. It's allowing yourself to be one member of a whole team of your life.
Yeah, you bring up a point that kind of made me laugh, with the scenario of, like, you're going to ask surgeons and doctors and medical people for help, because you're not going to be like, well, I've got
Can you hold the mirror a little bit that way? Because
I've got this, like, gouge, or maybe this internal cyst or something, and I'm like, I need to get in there. So I got to do it on my own. I got to handle this. I got to, like, get a scalpel, create an incision, and then, like, dig in and get that going. And, like, and as you're talking about it, saying, of course we rely on expertise of other people. So when you're in a situation where you're feeling like you're transferring power, one, it's asking for help is probably the most empowering thing you can do. But then think to yourself, all I'm doing is seeking out other people's expertise so that I can build upon my own. and then I become an expert in it. And then at some point, somebody's going to ask me for help, right? So I think asking for help is empowering. But yeah, any additional thoughts, Sheila?
I'm not prepared to take any shots at you at this moment, but thank you for asking.
Yeah, well, next time we're in person, right? There, see, you've got trucks that are ready to back you up. That's the backup sound. I'm a child. It's all good. I'm just trying to write here that asking for help is empowering. So I'd like that to show up on the screen, and hopefully there are no typos. But I feel that, Sheila, if you have any additional thoughts, great. But I feel this will be a good spot after you share what your wonderful thoughts are.
Yes, the beeping agrees with me that, yeah, I think we have expanded, we've contracted, we've turned this whole topic inside out. And I think we came a long way from where we started, and that, I think, yeah, there was great questions asked. So thank you to everyone who was here and participated. So yeah, whether you're watching it now, thank you. And if on the replay, feel free to drop more comments in, because if there are questions, we could always go in and answer them later, or create another live, because how much fun are we having here?
We do have a question here. Let's see, can we answer this in 30 seconds or less? And like, Julie, you can carry these questions on to the next one, because anything we talk about is always going to come back to things. Creating habits, writing every day, and forcing yourself. So efforting, and you'd much rather come by it through inspiration. Okay, so what if you woke up? Well, what if you actually, let's take you back in time. I'm going to do 30 seconds of something here. So if you're at a place where you can close your eyes, Julie, then go for it. But it's like, let's go back to this morning when you woke up and you were in bed, and you're just opening your eyes, and you're having a stretch, and then you say to yourself, I wonder what inspiration is going to come to me today. I'm excited to see that there's going to be some magic and some inspiration for me today. And I look forward to allowing myself to feel into what is it that I desire to do today. And just letting that settle, and seeing that there's no pressure here. There could be things that you want to do, but you could ask yourself, what am I more excited to do? And build some more momentum going. And then allow yourself to say, if something really doesn't have the energy in it today, you're going to do it tomorrow, or you're going to do it later. But you can always come back to this idea of just getting out of bed and saying, you know, I know inspiration is there for me today. I know I'm going to be excited about doing something today. So what is it that excites you when you're thinking about it in this now moment? And if it's not the thing you're supposed to do, you may build momentum to doing it because of what you're allowing yourself to enjoy in the process. Sheila, any thoughts?
No, that sounds perfect. But I do agree, a great topic for another day. Habits are so important for people. And yeah. I agree 100%, Julie. If it feels like you're forcing it, then it's probably not the right time. So to create some processes and feel into a better way is really valuable for everyone.
Yeah. So tune in next week. I don't know when we're doing the next one. Tune in next time on the next episode of We Don't Have a Name. We'll create something, I'm sure. But a pleasure, everyone. Thank you so much for being part of the call or part of the replay. Feel free to drop comments in the YouTube replay if you didn't watch live. Thank you so much to all the people who joined and asked questions and allowed for this to be an expansive and insightful conversation. And thank you so much, Sheila, for keeping me sane and allowing me to have my quirks and be chaotic, and then know it's still okay.
It all worked out, didn't it?
It always does. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Sheila, and tune in next time. All right. Much love to everyone. Bye.